Hello and welcome. It is my great pleasure to be able to welcome you to the grand reopening of America's National Churchill Museum. My name is Stephen Rogers. I am a student here at Westminster College studying history. Now, we closed our doors here at America's National Churchill Museum about a year and a half ago due to concerns surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. However, during that time, we did not just sit idly and twiddle our thumbs. We did many things to try and make this museum as good as it can possibly be in the circumstances in which we were here. Now, we took the time to effect many needed restorations, renovations, and other construction projects, and it is our utmost hope that we have created a museum that all of you can be proud of. I believe, if I may be so bold, that we have lived well up to the words of Winston Churchill whenever he said, "Never give up," and that we have indeed lived up to the legend and the standard of the Phoenix of Aldermanbury that stands right behind me, that neither trial nor tribulation nor crisis nor any world adversity can keep us closed forever. It is now with great pride and pleasure that I introduce to you President Don Lofe of Westminster College.
Thank you, Stephen. And as Stephen mentioned, he's a current student at Westminster College, and I am sure he will be a graduate in 2023. We're going to make sure of that. Good morning to everybody, and thank you for being here this morning, and welcome to the grand reopening of America's National Churchill Museum. I am Don Lofe, the President and Chief Transformation Officer of Westminster College, and I too am a graduate of Westminster College, graduating in 1979. On behalf of Jim Morton, Chair of the College Board of Trustees, it is my honor and pleasure to welcome Missouri Governor Michael Parson, Bill Daniels, our Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees, and another member of our board, Tom Christensen. Also with us this morning is Tim Riley, the Sandra L. and Monroe E. Trout Director and Chief Curator of America's National Churchill Museum. Other members with us today are Patricia O'Rourke, Victor Posley, who are Friends of the Museum, the City of Fulton Council Member Bob Washington, the City Manager Bill Johnson, Mark Sutherland, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's Honorary Consul for the State of Missouri, and last but not least, my wife Lorraine. I would also like to welcome to those watching virtually who could not be with us today for this very special ceremony. Now, I want to begin by saying there's been a lot of issues that all of us had to deal with as a country and a nation and a globe. And I assure you there hasn't been a chapter in a college or a museum handbook, operationally or financially, to deal with the pandemic, especially in these times of significant trouble and the endurance that we've all collectively had to do over the last several months and year. With that said, the museum closed its doors on March 15th, 2020. It's officially opening carefully today before all of you here with a number of COVID precautions. As we reopen, we recognize that we're keeping this monumental, significant part of the museum history alive for everyone in our community and throughout the world to use as a resource for education, research, and appreciation. This memorial to Winston Churchill's Iron Curtain speech, which placed Westminster College on the world stage, has been part of our campus for the first 52 years. Now fast forward to today, and despite the disruptive and stressful times we've all experienced throughout, again this past year, the museum is thriving. During its closure, the museum secured $1.3 million in donations, and thank you to all of you here and not here who have made that so possible in your generosity. We've set a goal of $3 million more for a number of significant and necessary projects that currently are underway, including an extensive water mitigation project that is crucial for the overall structure of this remarkable building. I am genuinely optimistic about the college's and museum's present and future financial and operational well-being, which brings me to my next point. Yesterday, the college successfully closed a long-term $13 million Industrial Development Authority of Callaway County bond refinancing of the college's present IDA bond structure. Included in this successful transaction was $3 million of new bond funding specifically earmarked for the renovation project for the museum. This transaction clearly demonstrates Westminster's commitment to the museum now and well into the future. I'd also like to thank the Callaway County IDA Authority, the Callaway Board of Commissioners, the Callaway Chamber of Commerce, and the City of Fulton for their collective and significant positive support for this important financial transaction for the college and the museum. Clearly, Westminster College and the museum have a lot to be optimistic about as we go forward into this 2021-22 academic and fiscal year. So today is a day of celebration. Again, thank you all again for joining us for the reopening ceremony of America's National Churchill Museum, and please join us throughout the weekend for the many activities the museum staff members have worked so hard to plan for you. It is now my pleasure to please join me in welcoming the Honorable Michael Parson, Governor of the State of Missouri. Governor?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Don, and good morning to everyone. Thanks for being out today. What a special year it is for the state of Missouri. As not only do we celebrate America's National Churchill Museum here in Westminster, but we also celebrate the 200 years of our statehood. Just here in just a short couple of weeks, we'll be able to celebrate that, along with all the activities. As I've had the opportunity here for the last couple of weeks to travel around the state and frankly take a little history tour of my own to remind me of some of the significant people that was in this state and what that means and what they meant to all of us that are here today and how they've changed our lives where we go. And whether that's the Mark Twains of the world, whether that's the General Pershings of the world, Walt Disney of the world, Mr. Hubble that did the Hubble telescope, that how he changed the world, all the way to presidents where Ulysses S. Grant's home place was, and think of the impact that all these men that we celebrate today in this museum, how they've made in our lives, and not only our lives, but if you go back and look at your parents and your grandparents and how influential they've been in the state of Missouri. So to be here in Fulton today, to be able to celebrate this event and have the representation of the British ambassador here also today with a lot of other dignitaries that are set behind me today means a great deal to me to be part of this ceremony. And as I go through this, I want to invite everybody. I want to give you a personal invite here as we go through the bicentennial. As part of this same celebration this year, there'll be a celebration at the state capitol on September the 18th that will bring all the history of Missouri to Jefferson City, and there'll be a huge parade that will be basically showcasing a lot of our counties, a lot of our cities, and the history of Missouri and how we all got to be here today. And we would love for this to be part of that celebration. That night, the inaugural ball, the bicentennial ball, will be held for the first time outside, so the public can be able to come to that and be able to be part of that celebration with fireworks, with a lot of displays of who we are in Missouri. Clydesdale horses will be there leading that parade. There'll be a World War II nurse that will be the grand marshal of that, and we are getting ready, hopefully, to be able to announce a 100-year-old World War II veteran will also be leading the parade in a Jeep standing on his own. So we're kind of proud of some of those things that will be happening there. But again, today we're here to celebrate Churchill and what Churchill meant to all of us as we've grown through that era, and what this museum means to us as a part of history of our state and how it's changed the world. Some of these leaders that we are celebrating and honoring and what that means. I think of all the names I mentioned to all of you just a little earlier as I travel around the state, and I think of who Missourians are. And I served 2 tours of duty in the military, and when I come out of the military, I said I would never leave this state again because I love this state and I love the people of this state. I love who we are and what we represent. And I think when you look back into history as we celebrate Churchill today is his meaning towards us and all the other things, all the things that our state's been through in 200 years. I think all of us need to step back when you go home and we get done with all the celebration today. Just take a quick reminder of where you came from, where your family came from, and why you're here today. And you'll find out, I think most of us will, is those Missouri values that's been instilled in a lot of us over the years and what that means. You know, it means common sense, it means hard work, it means family values, it means love for one another, help your neighbor, you know, and to develop leaders of the world and this country and of the United States. And when you think what Missouri's past has, I'm excited when I hear Stephen up here today kicking this off, a young guy. I couldn't help but sit back there. I said, I wonder where that guy's going someday. He sounds like a professor, though. You know, he said, please pay attention to me. I'm up here at the microphone, and I'm going to tell you what to do on that. So he's got that voice. So I sit there and I think, where are these people going in that? So I'm just glad to be here today, be part of the celebration. And I'm also going to give you some advice, all of you that are sitting out there in the sun. If you will put the speakers out there and put you guys under the shade, the ceremony will be much shorter. I will tell you that. It's called common sense. Thank you all for having me here today. It's an honor and privilege to be the governor of the great state of Missouri. God bless. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Governor Parson, and we will keep this brief. We do recognize that the sun has been shining, and we do have sympathy for all of you out there in it. We very much appreciate the governor being with us today. Thank you for everything you do for this state and for what the state has done and continues to do to promote and preserve Winston Churchill's legacy in Missouri and throughout the world. Before I begin today, I'd like to add my own thanks to those already extended by President Lofe and Stephen Rogers, and acknowledge the others on the platform with us today. From the city of Fulton, we have Councilman Bob Washington, who represents the 4th Ward, a district which Westminster College is proud to be a part. The city has been extraordinarily cooperative as we've completed our recent construction project on this site, and we remain grateful to its continued partnership. From St. Louis, we have with us Mark Sutherland, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II's Honorary Consul for the state of Missouri. Mark is a strong supporter of the museum and its mission, and a chief advocate for the special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States, Missouri in particular, something that Winston Churchill himself believed in resolutely. As we reopen today and look forward to our bright future, we pause to reflect upon the past. And so we also have with us 2 individuals who represent important individuals who played important roles in the establishment and enhancement of Churchill's legacy here. Victor Pasley is with us. Victor. Victor represents his late mother, Mamie Louise Black Pasley, who was present 75 years ago on March 5th, 1946, when President Truman and Winston Churchill made their historic visit to our campus. Victor, your mother was legendary for her hospitality, and I know she helped to welcome the President and Prime Minister with her customary warmth and grace. Thank you for being with us. Also with us is Patricia O'Rourke to represent her husband, Earl. Earl was a Westminster alumnus, yes, and a director of buildings and grounds here at the college in the 1960s when this historic church was moved from London and rebuilt here on our campus in Fulton. We lost Earl in December due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But before his illness, he had a chance to visit the museum and see the progress on the preservation of this special building he once shaped here a half-century ago. Finally, I would like to acknowledge Callaway County. Several of the commissioners are here today. If I could ask them please to come forward and join me for a moment on the platform. For the past year and a half, Callaway County has provided great support and relief for businesses, agencies, and individuals during the pandemic. Callaway County has risen to the challenge of administering with diligence the distribution of federal CARES Act funds, organized a rapid and successful distribution for vaccines, and has been a great partner to businesses in numerous ways. Westminster College and America's National Churchill Museum would like to recognize their partnership by presenting Callaway County with a distinctive honor, the museum's Special Relationship Award. The award recognizes organizations who work with Churchillian resolve to sustain and strengthen partnership with the college and the museum for the betterment of our larger community and region. So congratulations to Callaway County.
Thank you very much. You want a photo op? Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the brief time that remains, I would like also to speak about resilience, a word that has long been associated with Winston Churchill and this special place. During our 16th month closure, the museum, like Westminster College, Fulton, and the state of Missouri, responded to the challenges caused by the pandemic, public health challenges, economic challenges, and logistical challenges with resilience. On March 15th, 2020, as Stephen mentioned, the museum suddenly closed its doors. At the time, no one could know how long the museum would remain closed, though we were consistent and constant in saying that the closure would be a temporary one. The lights of the beautiful church of St. Mary the Virgin Aldermanbury were left on dimly, day and night, as a reminder, a beacon of our resilience. The church, of course, was ravaged by the Great Fire of London in 1666. It suffered German bombs on Churchill's watch during the Blitz of the Second World War, and it has seen countless pandemics and plagues during its 900-year history. Throughout it all, it has remained a beacon of resilience. During the museum's extended closure, we have reinvented the way we do business. We've presented virtual programs to students, individuals, and organizations. Our webcasts reached a global audience, proof positive of the fact that leadership lessons from the past can inform and inspire us in the present. But we also look forward to the future. We have invested $1.3 million into the historic preservation of this remarkable site. We thank all of those who worked tirelessly to care for and conserve this building. A special thanks to the contractors who are here with us today. You have reminded us all that this is not just another construction site. It is a building and a place with a rich history, a history about which you have written the most recent chapter. And today, we are pleased to announce, as President Lofe has mentioned, that Westminster College will invest another $3 million towards our ongoing preservation effort. That's terrific news, folks. $3 million for this great building. In the year ahead, we will continue our careful work to preserve the glory of this building, our treasured collection, and above all, the legacy and leadership lessons of Winston Churchill. As we reopen the museum today, we complete this next important phase of our preservation and begin the next. The light shines a bit more brilliantly as the beacon of resilience continues to guide visitors from across the state, the nation, and the world to our campus. Our investments in our rich history today will ensure that the future will be bright. So thank you all for being with us this afternoon, and enjoy your time at the museum and on campus. Once again, thank you for being here. Enjoy the day.